Hello. Uh, Over the weekend, I got third place at the Giant Card in Anaheim, and I got that. So I just wanted to record my deck profile, give my thoughts, and talk about changes post ban list and with extra experience off of the Anaheim Giant Card, as well as just locals and testing afterwards with new ban list. Okay. For the Giant Card, I ended up playing Ryzeal. For the main event, I played Kashtira Fiendsmith. So for the side event, I just wanted to change it up and play something a little different. Uh, Not so much different with the build though. So obviously, 3, 6, 9, 10. Just the standard 10 Ryzeals, and then one field spell, one quick play. I did end up playing the Trap. Um, I can see why people are cutting this. This card ended up not coming up as much, but there were situations where I drew one of these, and rather than grabbing a follow-up, I just grabbed a Trap to help with interruptions. Helps to play without going in, like playing into tactics immediately. Lets you get some interruptions before you start playing into it and having to use Detonator. The effect to XYZ only had come up once on my opponent's turn for a Zeus, but that game was basically wrapped up anyway, so it didn't really solve anything. So that's for the main Ryzeal core. And then, of course, Triple on Fire, just obvious consistent card. I only played one pot in my deck. I just kind of wanted to raw dog consistency and have my deck be as good as possible. And then just, when I draw good, my deck is good. So it ended up biting me because my only loss during the entire Giant Card was semis against Pack. I bricked game 1, played very good game 2, bricked game 3 again. I also biffed my hand traps game 3, but the proper improper uses of them wasn't stopping my top deck of no engine, unfortunately. But still biffed the hand traps nonetheless. And then that's it for engine. Everything else here is non-engine. So we did 3 Valor, 3 Ash. We did 2 Ogre and a Mourner. This was partially for Snake Eyes, because obviously the ban list had not been announced or anything yet, so I was still expecting a little bit of Snake Eyes. This was for hitting Diabel. In hindsight, this should have just been the third Ogre, because you hit Diabel to stop Deception. If they get Deception, you can just Ogre it regardless. This should have just been 3. This was also slightly for Crossout, but I don't believe people are really playing this, so this should have just been a third Ogre. And then 2 Fuos and 2 Perulia in the main. 4 Milch Armies, just a good number to try to open one of them pretty consistently without opening 2. And then 1 and 1 in the side deck to help for siding patterns, as well as not having 3 and 1 or 3 and 1 into more dead matchups. Just give variety in your draws. And then, of course, 3 crossouts. When this deck resolves its Search 2, it wins the game. So you just want to try to resolve that Search 2 as much as possible. You're playing a lot of games without your field spell, without your Search 2 resolving, and you do end up winning a lot of them, but anytime you can resolve that Search 2, you do almost always win those games. So this just helps with that. 3 of the card of the format, taking Detonators, playing through hand traps by looking at hand, drawing 2 when you don't have like a ton of starters to keep extending, and then just crossing this out as well in the mirrors when you go first. It's just all around, like, this was just the best card. Every time I had drawn this, I was never unhappy to see it, and every time I resolved it, it just put me in a very good position. And then just 1 called by, same reasoning as this. But then again, with things like Snake Eyes and Malice and other decks that aren't just Ryzeal running around, you can try to hit Engine if they don't end up hand trapping you, and it ends up being the best trap card in the game. And then, of course, 3 more Imperm. Probably the best non-engine aside from Tactics. Just being able to use this as a going first card or going second card. Using this as a hand trap going second, or drawing it for turn and using it to break boards on your own turn. Just overall very good. Like I said, there's no pots. We're just raw dogging the consistency and trying to have just as much good non-engine as possible without just, randomly losing our engine to pots that don't even guarantee us play. That's it for the main deck. Okay. For extra inside, I played 2 duo and triple detonator. You only really need 2 duos for things like Unicorn, and then if you like hard open field spell, you can send duo, summon duo, attach duo, just to like play around hand traps on it. The second one can come up like turn 3. You can bottom your quick play in your node, make the second duo, and just search your quick play in your node again, just to have them. But when you come to like grind states, you really just want to be making your detonators. When you and your opponent are low on resources, a 3 material detonator is just killer in a grind state. Just, you know, this backed up with like 1 or 2 leftover hand traps, or like 1 or 2 draws from field spell and for turn. Just end up grinding down resources really well. For utility, best one going second, best one going first, although you can also make this one going second for some OTK lines or some extension. 1 Tornado Dragon. It's just really good at clearing back row. If your opponent has like 1 set, you're scared of it being an imperm, or if they have a Malice set, you can force it out with this before you commit your ice. You can go like EX, grab sword, sword, grab ice, make this, pop some errant back row, and then just kind of play through. 1 Dweller and 1 Baguska. Ended up not making these ones as much during the event, but I would rather have them in my deck and not need them than need them and not have them. So these guys shown here. The 1 Lancer for clearing names under cross and occasionally OTKing or just making attacking over things easier. The 1 Meteorologic, just really good, obviously, with X and reattaching it. You can play a second one if you want to end up cutting one of these guys. The only one I would really recommend is Lancer. He probably comes up the least or can be the least useful over these 2. 1 Typhon for Hand Trap Wars and 1 Zeus for the Trap card. And as well, if you ever just have one of your XYZs kind of just left over, attacking and then stacking a Zeus and just wiping both players' resources to nothing, and then just kind of, you know, grinding with your opponent with Ryzeal names or hand traps. And then 1 Donner. I did not play Nib in my main or my side, so this was only for if I got nibbed, just to be able to clear the token. It ended up not coming up, so this was just kind of a prosby every turn, or every game that I had it. That's really it for this extra. It's pretty standard. And then for the side, we had Cowboy to get over big monsters, the 2 extra Melcharmies, just to round out playsets in the main against matchups where they're good. We had the triple Lancia for Malice, the triple Ultimate Slayer for the Mirror, the triple D-Barrier for the Mirror, and then Judgment, Anti-Spell for going first, just to kind of beat Breakers, beat Tactics, beat Evenlies, beat... no one really played Dark Ruler. Occasionally, or usually beat Droplets, and then this just beats Snake Eyes on some instances, and then Malice when they are playing the Striker. So, just overall pretty good. With this tournament being over, the new ban list, and the hindsight of just a lot more practice getting in, I would end up, of course, swapping the Mourner in the main for the 3rd Ogre. This card just ends up coming up a lot more. It's just better. This card is just not as great. And then taking these 2 Judgments in the side out for 2 Nibs, and then just going to 41 in the main deck with a Nib in the main. So just 41, swap this for this, and just slot this in. If you open the 1 of Nib against certain decks, like in the Mirror, if you're able to hand trap on the duo and then just Nib them, that's just their whole turn. And then against Malice, if you do happen to open this one, if it's really good. But this is mostly just for cross out when you really want to extend into it. And then, of course, this is just really good for U-Bell and Malice post side. Just a very good card. Other than that, yeah. While I would have liked to win the Giant card, I was not disappointed with my performance with the deck. I would have liked to have drawn more engine that I had, but I didn't really want to sacrifice any of my cards for pots, so I ended up doing pretty good. But yeah, thank you for watching.